Hello, my name is Brady Rutledge, and welcome back to the Thin Blue Line Briefing Room, where we'll cover stories, tips, and learning lessons from law enforcement who have decades of experience out in the field. If you're interested in the behind the scenes of what it takes to live life as an officer on duty in various positions, you're in the right spot. This weekly podcast can be found on YouTube, Spotify, and anywhere else you watch your podcasts. Be sure to smash that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next one. For today's episode, this is the first podcast. Here with me, I have my father joining me. Your name?
Tommy Rutledge.
So this he has been out in the field for 30 plus years, and here we are to listen, learn about his stories and experiences. So we'll just start from, I guess, the very beginning. Why and what made you want to start with law enforcement?
Why did I want to start in law enforcement? Gosh, I grew up in it. Your grandpa, my dad, obviously, he was a police officer for 32 years. And then your uncle, my brother, he was an officer for, I don't know, 25, 28 years, something of that nature. My stepdad, that you never got to meet, he was in law enforcement after his career in the Air Force. So the whole born and raised is I think where it all started. And who doesn't idolize their dad? I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. I did, and that's just what direction I took and where I wanted to go. And but then I had a change of heart. Maybe you don't even know this part. Um, at one point, I decided I didn't want to be, and I was going to be a fireman instead. Yeah, that didn't work out. So that's kind of why, I guess. And I don't know how far do you want to go into that particular question?
Um, I know there's an experience about your first day as a medic.
Okay.
If you want to, because I thought that was kind of a real shifting point of what changed things.
Yeah. So I went to work at the Oklahoma County Jail August 20th of 1994, and of course we all know what happened on April 19th, 1995. So prior to the Oklahoma City bombing on April 19th, 1995. While working there at the jail, there was a group of guys putting together a search and rescue team, or a plan to have a search and rescue team. And their plan was to present that to the current sheriff at the time. His name was J.D. Sharp. And the idea was to establish a search and rescue team for the sheriff's office. Um, I was enrolled in my EMT basic class at that time. And during your EMT basic class, you have to do some clinicals, and you can choose 2 rotations in an ER, 1 on an ambulance, or 1 in an ER and 2 on an ambulance. And I happened to be doing an EMT basic clinical on an ambulance the day of April 19th, 1995. Spent a few hours getting some practical experience that day, and subsequently, some days after that, um, finished the EMT class. But because I was a full-time employee with the sheriff's office working in the jail, the path just continued down that road into law enforcement.
What were the steps after that that made you really go into your first department?
Well, it was kind of a slow process, really. I worked in the jail for a couple of years, decided to not continue down that road, and I decided to join the Air Force. I did join the Air Force due to some circumstances back home. Had to leave the Air Force, came back, humbled myself, and just became a security guard to be able to make a little money. While I was in the Air Force, I married your mom, and then had the opportunity to re-engage with the sheriff's office, but I went through their reserve academy and graduated from that, maintained that certification for a while, which led into the application process with Putnam City Campus Police. I went to work for them. At that time, police officers did not have to be certified until a year, or they had a year grace period from the time of initial employment till the time they had to be certified. Luckily, I had a reserve certification. I had some significant amount of training, so I wasn't out there without any training. But anyway, that's the summer after I was hired in July of 2000. And so the summer in 2001 is when I went through the full-time academy.
So before we get too far into the past of it, what do you do now?
Well, now my full-time job is I work in the public safety division of the IT department for the city of Oklahoma City. But I'm also back after a full-time career in law enforcement. I'm back as a reserve deputy for the Oklahoma County Sheriff's Office, where I started back in the 90s. As part of my involvement with the Sheriff's Office now, I joined the bomb squad. So no more tactical type stuff. The kicking in doors is for the young guys. The going in and dragging out bad guys is for the young guys. And a little bit more of an expertise team now. And I am not a bomb technician, a hazardous device technician. I'm on the support team. So there's a group of us that we only have currently 3 technicians, but there's a group of 12 of us, I believe. We do everything that the bomb tech will do, minus putting on the suit and actually going down range and disrupting the device. So we'll set up all the equipment. We'll bring the truck out. We can operate the robot and run the X-ray machine and develop the film and basically support everything that the technician's gonna need. We just don't put the suit on and go downrange.
Are there any other little extra teams you're a part of there?
Well, I am sort of involved in the technology team. I don't know that that's really an official title, but I help out since I have a little bit of knowledge in some information technology and IoT devices, especially the camera systems and things, since that's what I do full time with the city. So involved with that somewhat.
So now that we've kind of established kind of what he's doing now, what were some things back then that really just made you want to join law enforcement?
Well, who doesn't want to drive fast and shoot guns and run lights and run sirens and be the one actually rushing somewhere to help somebody? I know there's that cliche term, serve and protect, and of course we're all going to say that and everything, but the adrenaline dump that you can get on a daily basis just starts building into that DNA, and I think you see that in your relatives, you see that on TV shows, and then you kind of urge that you want that for yourself. But then the outcome to where you can actually make a difference, where you arrive on a call and you can help somebody or you stop somebody from being hurt. Stop somebody from losing their property. Sometimes some of those calls, might be medical related or really a fire department type of a call or a social worker call, mental health, those type of things. And so that's what I craved. That's what I wanted to do. And of course, working at night was even more adrenaline junkie, if you want to call it. That's where the action's at.
Would you say that more nighttime shifts versus daytime shifts, more busy or more crazy?
Oh, of course. When I say that's where the action's at, working at night, that's where the fight calls, the domestics, the break-ins, the unknown alarm calls where somebody's potentially breaking into a business or a home, where your day shift is a little bit more of your report taking, white collar crimes, citizen assists, not so much the higher risk things, I guess, occur more at night, I believe.
Is there a kind of a mild story you have that people watching can kind of hear about, but also learn from the behind the scenes part, and maybe get an insight of what it's really like, and not just what they're seeing on Instagram scrolling? And
As you know, and growing up all your life, being the son of a law enforcement officer, we generally are people too. We do that work, and it is a profession, but I mean, it's a job. Uh, we don't go to work with the intent of punishing people. We go to work with the intent of the whole public safety thing is um, everything that we do is predicated on the actions of somebody else. We don't drive around just randomly stop cars. We stop cars because they're driving and committing some sort of violation, whether that's a moving violation, an equipment violation. Something brings our attention to them, and it's the actions of the driver. Or we get called to someone's home because of their actions. We don't normally get called to come over and say hi or to come over for the cookout. It's because something has gone wrong in their lives and they need our help to fix it. And we're those temporary fixers. So just remember, we're people too, and we understand, but we do have a job to do. And that's why our friends list gets real short, because if I own a restaurant and somebody comes to that restaurant, do they expect to eat for free just because they know me or they're my friend or we associate with each other? Well, if I am performing my duties and I make a traffic stop or I get called to your house on a domestic, do you get to go away without a ticket? Do you get to go away and not go to jail because you beat somebody up just because you know me? So that's how we end up having very few friends unless they're in the world.
so that's going to be it for this segment of this first podcast. But now we're going to be switching gears to the real world, real talk. For this one, since it's the first episode, we'll kind of be juggling information from a few weeks ago. In the next coming podcast, we'll kind of gather more information throughout that week. But for this one, we'll just stick to 1 week ago. Real world, real talk. Just kind of about the Iran war, and U.S. getting involved in between obviously Iran and Israel, and us having to step in because not everyone can defend themselves. With U.S. obviously having to go over there and bomb their airfields, and then them bombing our U.S. bases. Do you have any specific thoughts about it in general right now?
Well, yeah. I think the U.S. is in a position, whether we legally are bound to, whether we morally should or not, I feel like we are in a position somewhat to police the rest of the world. And that's just my personal opinion, that we have the best military in the world. They receive the best equipment, the best training, and other nations depend on us as their big brother, whether they want to admit it that way or not. And frankly, there's a lot of things that happen outside of the United States that directly affect what happens here. To know that we've got a lot of sleeper cells, a lot of bad people have come across that border, not necessarily just the southern border, come across any of our borders. They're here, they're waiting, and depending on the actions, on when they're going to strike, how they're going to strike. But a lot of that stuff that's going on right now, I'd rather fight them there than they all come here and fight.
So actually, I have seen this in the past week actually. I don't know if you've seen it. Um, so the before the Twin Towers fell, there was a man who bought it. I can't remember his exact name right now, but he bought it, and like a week later, the towers fell. So, and he because bring this up because on the west coast, he just bought the um, it's a bank tower. It's the tallest tower it's in LA, tallest tower in LA, and people are now scheming that because he has bought it that they're putting connections together that um, Iran's going to have a strike here in California.
Hmm. Well, that'd be one heck of a coincidence. If something like that does happen, I think objectively it has to be looked at of, is it coincidental? Is it tragic that it was an occurrence that happened, that his name is tied to it in New York City? And so to create a patsy, other entities find out he's buying something else big, and then they try a terroristic attack on his new project just to make him look like he's involved. I'm sure there's a lot smarter people that will figure those type of things out. I can't imagine somebody buying something with the intention of they're going to blow it up themselves or be part of it being destroyed. But then again, crazier things happen.
So, kind of a slight change of subject. Obviously, over in Iran, the U.S. have lended them our American F-14s and letting them, call them their IRAF planes. It's just their name for their planes. But obviously, growing up more, in the '80s, obviously watching Top Gun a lot, and the F-14 being the staple plane of that movie. Even more so recently in the new Top Gun Maverick, they even had that scene where they were going to the Russian airfield after it got blown up, and then jump starting the plane back. Them calling it what did
A museum piece, right?
museum piece,
Yeah.
and they were having to take off from the taxiway. Them having our planes, we have had to go over there, and some people have speculated that we have gone and destroyed their planes, but there were more paintings on the ground. From what I've seen, they were not even close to paintings. They were, physical models that I saw from the targeting pod cameras. What's it like to just see your childhood plane just being bombed on an airfield?
Man, childhood plane. Yeah. Well, of course, growing up watching Top Gun, the F-14 is a staple of my teens and early 20s for sure. See, that came out in 1985, I believe. Yeah, so I was 11. Um, and on Top Gun Maverick, whenever they restarted that museum piece, the whole movie was great, but then the goosebumps, see that F-14 going again. But to be over there, that we've allocated our aircrafts to them, whether we loaned them, leased them, gave them, let them borrow, whatever the case may be, and now they're being destroyed, is sad in a way. Really, those things. Uh, Such a great aircraft, and the capabilities. I can't even articulate what their capabilities are really, other than over the years, you hear things and you see things, and but the big thing is to have such an ordnance capable carrying supersonic fast jet that can land on a boat and take off on a boat. That's pretty freaking cool. And now we're blowing them up. I hope we're not having to blow up too many of our own planes, but I guess it is what it is.
I don't really know of another plane, specifically another Navy plane that can actually carry an AIM-54. One of, if not the longest range missiles, and you can strap four of them to the underbelly of them. Let alone like 4 to 6 2,000-pound bombs along with it, along under they call it the tennis court. You know that?
I didn't know that.
The under part of it, since it's the real long flat part in the middle, is a tennis sword. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Who knows if, from what obviously the public really knows, if there are any other still, sitting on the bottom deck of a drawing a blank on the carrier.
Not just an aircraft carrier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just sitting in storage, but I bet there's still some that are obviously airworthy, but they can still be demoed.
Oh, for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some more in the air during some combat. I know the F-18 has really taken over that role and everything, but I wouldn't mind seeing an F-14 getting some more strikes.
Well, that's gonna be it for this first podcast. You'll find this on YouTube and Spotify. This weekly podcast. This is the Thin Blue Line Briefing Room.
See you later.